So, we talk a lot and do a lot of work about our own emotions and taking responsibility for them by recognizing that the way we feel is a product of our own thoughts. And before I continue with this, I want to acknowledge that, somebody can actually make you feel scared. If somebody has a knife on you, you're feeling scared. So I don't want to oversimplify. I hate the word always. You are always responsible for the way you feel. But just understand that in general, in terms of emotional sobriety, in terms of our own recovery, the way we feel often is a product of our own thinking. But with all of that being said, what cannot be denied is that there are people and marketing teams out there that are working very, very hard to make us think something. We have been bombarded with mass marketing messages about all sorts of products, almost every single product. We're buying that because of the way we feel about the brand as opposed to what the actual product does or what we believe the product's going to give us. That's really usually not related to what's in the package. But we are in this video, we're going to talk about alcohol and specifically how alcohol marketing messages are manipulating our emotions. And what happens is it goes into our subconscious. So, our subconscious is very, very powerful. And the purpose of our subconscious is to make our life easier. And everything that's ever happened, everything we've ever experienced, every thought we've ever had, every belief that we have, all of that is constantly being recorded in our subconscious. And then what we are aware of is a micro fraction of what's actually in our subconscious. And that's where this work needs to be done in recovery to make sure that we're addressing the subconscious beliefs that alcohol is a reward, alcohol is a treat, we deserve it, we can't stop drinking, sobriety is boring, all of the things that we believe, we're bringing them into our awareness and we're dealing with them and we're creating new thoughts and we're rinsing and repeating and it's all good and great. However, it goes very, very deep. And so the purpose of this module is to have you kind of look at a lot of different advertisements, and we're going to talk about different emotions that they trigger so that you can begin to bring that awareness, those messages into awareness. So it's not just your subconscious belief. Advertisements are effective not because they tell us the attributes of the brand. Vodka, it will give you a hangover and dark circles under your eyes, also interfere with sleep, possibly create conflict in your relationships, your mental health will decline. I mean, if they were honest about what they're selling, that's what that would sound like. So they're selling us on an emotion, beers that make us, they're for the healthy people, and the mommy wines that are our reward to the taxing problems of motherhood, or the whiskey that we can drink like a man. They're not selling us the whiskey, they're selling us the concept that we're a woman in a man's world, and in order to be successful we have to emulate the behavior of men. um, and it's so while we can take responsibility for our emotions and our thoughts in everyday life and break things down, ultimately, we also have to take responsibility for all the stuff that we really can't change, all of the messages that are coming in. And I like to think of this, and I encourage you to use the analogy moving forward, not just in this program, but in your life, is every commercial, every concept, and they're sneaky, and we're going to get into it because it's not just a commercial on TV now, it's just permeating all facets of our culture, but it plants a seed that grows into a weed. And so on a regular basis we have to weed our thoughts. And the way that you can do that, what's the symptom of a weed in your garden? Well, you can see the little weed, you don't know it's there taking root under the soil until something pops up. And so you have to stay diligent and consistent in noticing when things pop up. How do we counteract our subconscious? we bring it into awareness. So anytime you notice a thought or an urge, and it could be a fleeting thought or a micro urge, um, but anytime you notice anything that kind of pulls you favorably towards drinking, you have to notice that that's a weed and it has to be pulled, and you have to stop and you have to pull it out. And then just like in the practice of regular emotional hygiene in our relationships and in our lives and in our self-care, this also gets easier with time. So the purpose of this module is to kind of throw it all in your face, and so that you can practice seeing what it is that is triggering you, that what it is that's triggering your emotions. This is a war. Maya Angelou says that people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did. They will only they will never forget how you made them feel. Humans are not logical. We are emotional. So while you can do everything in your power to remember the hell that was alcohol use disorder and what it was like to live with an addiction, and find your why as to why you want to live sober, ultimately you are constantly there's a war going on to tick at the foundation of your resolve and replace it with a product that promises to make you feel better, but it doesn't. It's the beginning of a downward spiral into hell. So in early sobriety, it's difficult enough just managing your own little life, managing your relationships, managing self-care. It's quite another thing to remain vigilant, like I'm talking that you need to do, because big alcohol is linking their brands to all the things you want in life. Remember, they're not just selling a substance that's ultimately ethanol, that's ultimately cancerous, that's ultimately a neurotoxin. They're selling emotions. They're also designed to appeal to pre-existing emotions, pre-existing beliefs and memories. Um, and so it's very, very subtle, and it's so obvious that you just dismiss it. Oh, that ad's got sex appeal, and I know I'm not going to drink vodka and look like her, so it's very overt. But at the same time, it still can lead to a seed that blossoms in you. It's estimated that 95% of our behaviors are driven by our subconscious. So it's just, I can't reiterate enough how important it is to notice when the little thought, when the little emotion pops up. It's a weed and it has to be pulled out, because otherwise it grows and it begins to take over your, let's use the analogy, your beautiful garden of mental health. You don't want any weeds in it, and there will always be weeds, and you have to be diligent about pulling them. So we're going to look at a bunch of different advertisements and analyze them, bring them into our awareness of all the various emotions that they provoke. But Brainwashing 101, just understand that they are provoking an emotion, because our thoughts control our emotions. So if they're able to provoke an emotion, then they're able to gain control of our thoughts. It's a backdoor way into controlling our behavior. And that's why literally this is Brainwashing 101, because they're evoking emotions to create thoughts or reinforce thoughts that we already had. So just going through these one by one, what do we want to feel? We want to feel freedom, and we fear feeling controlled and manipulated. We want to feel independent. We fear feeling stuck, stagnant, being a slave to the grind. We want to feel attractive and sexy, and we fear feeling plain and boring and forgettable. We want to feel belonging. We fear isolation and loneliness and missing out. We want to feel rewarded and validated, and we fear feeling unappreciated or taken advantage of. We want to feel relaxed. We fear and avoid feeling stressed. We want to feel unique. We fear feeling like an imposter or repetitive or predictable. We want to feel authentic, and we fear feeling like a knockoff, a fake, some sort of imitation. We want to feel principled, and we fear feeling shallow, cheap, fickle. We want to feel valuable, and we fear feeling low quality, worthless, replaceable. We want to feel powerful and that like we're of high status, and we fear feeling average and forgettable and left out. We also want to feel lighthearted and fun, and we fear being perceived as a stick in the mud or a party pooper. So we're going to watch some commercials and look at some different ads. But as we do this, just make a mental note of this screen, this slide, looking at all of the emotions that we want to feel and those that we fear feeling, and see if you can pull from the subconscious as you watch the commercial and name the emotion, name 2 or 3 different emotions that come up for you when you watch these.
How you start is everything. I start pure with a blank canvas. Then I add a beat. That's it. And now the groove. What else? Okay. And now the vocals. There you have it. But the most exciting part for me is still the purity of the blank canvas. The purest canvas.
And your start is everything. The best mixed drink start pure. Smell off.
Come on, people! Make some
Johnny, how you can love. Oh, Johnny, hell's above. You make my sad heart jump with joy. And when you're here, I just can't sit still a minute. I'm so Johnny. Oh, Johnny, please tell me, dear, what makes me love you so much? But when I look at you, I just, oh, Johnny, oh, oh, Johnny, Johnny, I feel in love. Oh, Johnny, happens to pop me about. You make my sad heart jump with joy. And when you're near, I just can't sit still another minute. Johnny, please tell me, dear, what makes me love you so? You're not handsome, it's true.
Scusa,
But when I look at you, I
4 martini royali.
just see, oh, Johnny, oh, da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Johnny, please tell me, dear. Oh, tell me, dear, what makes me love you so? Oh, that handsome love is true. But when I look at you, I say, oh, Johnny, oh, Johnny, oh, Johnny.
These pure waters are special. Something goes in there, comes out different. Well, in a good way. Don't know why. Suppose it's always been that way. Right. My old man never wore the same pair of shoes twice. Oh, sure, things don't always turn out the way you expect. But nobody's complaining. Because this water just makes things better.
He has inside jokes with complete strangers. Cuba imports cigars from him. Mosquitoes refuse to bite him, purely out of respect. He is the most interesting man in the world.
I don't always drink beer, but when I do, I prefer Dos Equis. Stay thirsty, my friends.
Frank Sinatra was a man. No, he was the man. And he loved Jack. No, that's Jackie. Jack, as in Daniels. On stage every night. 3 rocks, 2 fingers, and a splash of water. He's even buried with a bottle of it. So Frank, this one's for you.
That's the nectar of the gods, baby.
Twist, slide, drifting love, free mind. Enjoy the ride. You'll be mine. You're huge.
So, what are your names?
My name is Papier.
And I am Plastique.
Miss? Miss? Excuse me, miss. Paper plastic, miss. Paper plastic.
Pinnacle, the original whipped vodka. Now available in cherry, chocolate, and orange whipped.
Enjoy the ride.
History asks questions of us all, even the Beam family. Would you lead the way when disaster strikes? Would you fight for what's right? Would you bide your time? Would you chase fashion or stay true to yourself? 2 centuries, 1 bourbon. That's how Jim Beam makes history. How will you make yours? Jim Beam. Make history.
These days, almost nothing is what it seems. From the way we look to the way we meet. In a changing world full of fakes, imitators, and copycats, at least some things have stayed the same. Jim Beam. Mixed or on the rocks. Enjoy the world's #1 bourbon whiskey.
Thanks for the party!
You know, it's smart you're not driving, but did you really need a limo?
It's not for me, it's for these heels. I'll call you when I get home.
Hi, Allison.
I'm home.
Yeah, I can see you.
Thanks again! Great party!
No matter how you get there, Smirnoff reminds you to get home safely.
Woo!
What's going on?
Let's straighten it out. Baby, let's straighten it out.
What's up?
Let's straighten it out. Baby, I said straighten it out.
Randy?
I said straighten it out. Baby, 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 let's straighten it out. Honey, 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 I want to straighten it out.
That last one, George Clooney is one of my favorite, but it had him, Cindy Crawford, I think Cindy Crawford's husband, maybe, I'm not sure, Randy Gerber. But they're portraying some situations that in real life, I don't care how hot you are, your husband or boyfriend finds you in bed with another man, not going to go well. And then, of course, the lesbian normal movement where, women are supposed to be hotter because they're in bed with other women. So somehow that's George Clooney's dream. Um, they're just portraying not even subtle message that if you drink the right alcohol and you're hot, that all of your nightmares, scenarios, and bad behaviors will have a happy ending. And it ultimately feeds that subconscious belief. And that's how we find ourselves illogically continuing to drink, even though we are experiencing devastating consequences, unfortunate things, painful circumstances. And yet, that image still stays in our head and at some point calls us to drink. And that subconscious urge overrides our decision-making ability. Just notice the emotions that come up for you. Ryan Reynolds, pure sex appeal, I guess, on this one, rugged. And then status, independence. Drew Barrymore seems to be inviting me into her secret, so I get to be included in whatever it is she's doing. We've got a pro tennis player who's able to drink and read. I was never really able to do that all that well. Matthew McConaughey, pure sex appeal once again. Ashton and Mila, promoting that the couples who drink together stay together and inviting me selfie style into their little celebrity unit. And then Chris inviting me to escape into the next episode of The Bachelor because that's a reward and it's relaxing and it's probably social. And then Justin Timberlake promoting the triple threat. You can sing, dance, and drink. And then you've got Juliana Hough and her girlfriend, and they have one red glass of wine and one glass of white wine, which means that it's not a problem to be high maintenance, especially if you're doing yoga outside and you're beautiful and skinny also. And if we could just contrast all the times people are drinking and they're not smiling and they're not doing yoga and they're not having fun, it would just be such a different story. And here's another ad for why beer drinking is always associated with lightheartedness and fun.
Did you bring anything for the clothing drive?
No.
Too bad. You get a free Bud Light for every article of clothing you donate.
Sweet. Morning, Bob.
Morning, Jim.
That was my pen.
Oh.
Keep it.
It's for a good cause. You're hired. Welcome to the team.
I'll get you a Bud Light.
Hold that! Hold that!
It's chilly here.
Newton Graham, hold please.
Sorry. There you go.
Gross.
I'd like to congratulate Sarah on running the most successful clothing drive ever. Great job.
So even though that commercial was lighthearted and fun, ultimately you have to put it into context. That is one of hundreds of thousands of ads in print or commercials that you see every single year. And it does its job. It's another nail in the coffin. It's normalizing drinking, and it's also promoting the belief that when you're drinking, it's perfectly normal to engage in inappropriate behavior. And they're using a way absurd example, but ultimately that pushes the needle, one little thought, one little drop in standards at a time. And while that was clearly a spoof, big brands are actually getting very serious about creating a health halo around their products, and they're marketing alcohol as wellness drinks in attempt to capture the health conscious consumer. We've now got natural, artisan, sugar-free, paleo-friendly, keto-friendly wines. We've even got protein-infused vodka that's gluten-free and low-calorie. And plant medicines, which are natural antidepressant mood regulators, and organ tonics are now being infused into our alcoholic beverages. And I'll share my own personal story of falling for this hook, line, and sinker. I was really working hard to manage my drinking problems, switching from wine to vodka and switching brands of vodka. And I heard a Kettle One advertisement for the botanical infused vodka on Goop podcasts. I don't know if you follow Goop, but I was a big fan for a long time. I even attended one of their super pricey retreats out in LA. They're a health conscious lifestyle brand headed by Gwyneth Paltrow, and they promote themselves as being, hard conversations and cracking open taboos and looking for connection. And they promote all sorts of brands that are environmentally friendly and holistic and healthy, everything from food to fashion to wellness to vitamin and supplement protocols. And they have Oprah and Eckhart Tolle and all of the spiritual gurus on their podcast. And I listened to that podcast and I was looking for answers. I was suffering. I was trying desperately to manage an out of control addiction. And I was looking for any idea, any product, anything that would help me find a way out. And tucked in between all of their advice about being creative and being spiritual and healing, I hear this ad.
Thanks for listening to the Goop podcast, made possible by our friends at Kettle One Botanical. The past month or so, I spent a lot of time in the Goop kitchen, recipe testing and filming videos on everything from salads to cocktails. You can guess which was more fun. I have some tried and true cocktails that I make at home, but I like to take inspiration from the recipes our food editor, Caitlin, comes up with. Over the years, she has made a bunch in partnership with Kettle One Botanical. Here's why this is very goopy. Kettle One Botanical is vodka distilled with real botanicals and made with non-GMO grain. There's no sugar and no artificial sweeteners or flavors. You can mix with Fever Tree Club soda for a simple botanical spritz, or if you're looking for some custom cocktail ideas, you can find those on goop.com.
So the unfortunate truth is that I was a regular Goop podcast listener, so I heard that ad multiple times. But it wasn't long before I did actually switch to Kettle One Botanicals. And by the time I quit drinking, I was up to half a fifth of that a day. When I first switched over, I did probably in my head feel like I felt better than the vodka or the wine that I was drinking. I thought I'd found my solution. And ultimately, it just pulled me deeper down the drain. So that ad paid for itself. Thanks, Goop. And ultimately, we just can't forget the power of advertising. In her book, Quit Like a Woman, my favorite, #1 recommendation of all time, Holly Whitaker calls Gwyneth out. These are Holly's words. Recently, I heard Gwyneth Paltrow on the Girl Boss podcast talking about the social responsibility Goop holds for its readers. She said she couldn't in good conscience recommend a certain not organic toxic chemical eyeliner to her readers because of the potential that it would mess with a woman's delicate endocrine system. which would be fine and all if Goop Health Summit weren't sponsored by Kettle One Botanical Vodka, or if she weren't promoting her preferred, anointed, all-natural, holy eyeliner next to collagen-infused martinis and CBD-spiked cocktails. Because nothing will take you down faster than toxic eyeliner. But drinking ethanol with a shot of collagen is basically snorting the fountain of youth. Holly calls this capitalistic patriarchy, and I'm inclined to agree with her. She says that the success of these companies depends on all of us drinking the Kool-Aid, or vodka in this case, and not questioning anything. It depends on our willful ignorance, born of confirmation bias. We see our people, Gwyneth and Oprah and Gloria Steinem, and successful, spiritual, healing people. We see them drinking, so we don't question it. We just follow their lead. And that's why so many of us end up falling off the cliff. Just look at this product description for one of those new spritzers. It's naturally refreshing, fruit-flavored, alcoholic drink for the modern, sophisticated, and classy woman. It comes in a tantalizing apple flavor for the unmistakably sophisticated, fresh taste. Snap celebrates today's woman. She is empowered, confident, and stylish. It complements her femininity, lifestyle, and achievements. This ad is disgustingly obvious. And yet, I can't deny, I fell for it. We all did.
There are no rules to cocktailing. With our latest additions to the Skinny Girl Wine Collection, enjoy even more options you love without the extra calories you don't. Skinny Girl Wine Collection. Drink like a lady.
They are hitting us hard with this high quality, sustainable, natural, strict standard of health bullshit. It's literally death by buzzword. That was an ad by Fit Vines Wine. And here's one with Dry Farm Wines. Dry is what we refer to as a person who's not drinking. So the name implies, sobriety itself. And we're falling for the sugar-free, paleo-friendly, keto-friendly, low-carb-friendly, artisanal. It's a better, cleaner buzz, lower alcohol content. It's so obvious. And yet, because everybody else is doing it, we just can't see the forest through the trees. We can't see, the parable or the children's story with the emperor's new clothes. None of us are wearing any clothes. So let's take a look at just some beer ads from Mich Ultra, because they are really hitting the health halo with their beer. They're marketing to athletes. They're using athletes to promote. But, lose the carbs, not the taste. So, even as a female who didn't drink beer, I was inclined to choose this brand if I was at a party and beer was optional because ultimately I'm making a healthier choice. I'm not going to get fat. There's only 95 calories. It's the smart choice. Low in carbs. They're reinforcing continually the idea that this brand of beer goes with a healthy, active lifestyle, running, working out, and that feeds right into our belief that it's healthy.
They don't like commuting, but they're excellent drivers. They completely ignore the escalator. And even though they live like there's no tomorrow, they already have plans for tomorrow. Big plans. That's the Ultra Life. Michelob Ultra. 95 calories, 2.6 carbs, and exceptionally smooth taste. It's the superior light beer, perfectly balanced for the Ultra Life.
Not only are they telling us these beers are healthy, but they're touting them as recovery drinks and incorporating them into athletic events.
A bunch of runners, put them on a track with a whole lot of beer. This is the beer mile. every runner should try a marathon in their life, and every runner should try Beer Mile before they die. That's Patrick Butler. I created BeerMile.com and have been maintaining the rules and standardization for Beer Mile for about 18 years. Now, normally, Beer Mile is done individually or with a group of friends. They head down to the track and they run a lap, drink a beer, run a lap, drink a beer, 4 times over, and that's a Beer Mile. Someone records it, and Butler adds it to the records. Oh, and no puking. Don't puke. If your beer comes back up, you're penalized with an extra lap. It's all foam. It's all foam. This guy did it in 4:57. He's got the world record.
4:57! You did it!
Apparently, people really want to do this because there was enough interest to hold the first Beer Mile World Championships in Austin, Texas in 2014. Pro runners were there.
Katie Mackey, bronze medalist at the USA Outdoor Track and Field Championships.
Even Olympians.
Nick Simmons, 2-time Olympian, 5:19 Beer Mile runner.
The best strategy I could glean came from Chris Kimbrough, a 46-year-old mother of 6, who did her best Beer Mile in 6:28.
Okay, you get all that air in there with the carbonation, so you gotta burp. You gotta run and burp.
Beth Herndon smoked the women's competition and set a new world record. And this guy, Corey Gallagher, came all the way from Canada to run the whole thing in just 5 minutes. Cheers! So yeah, that's the Beer Mile. Looks like a lot more fun than a marathon.
Oh, that's nice.
Alcohol is now being found in even our sacred spaces, such as yoga, where it's very common to see wine tastings paired with some sort of spiritual practice or yoga. There's even a group that's called drunk yoga, where you'll like this class if you're a person, you like wine, and you like happiness. I'm all about a judgment-free, compassion-filled atmosphere, but it's complete and utter nonsense that alcohol somehow contributes to our pleasure. And if you haven't noticed, the pink ribbons and breast cancer awareness has taken on astronomical assumptions. You know, you see not only fast food, but now alcohol also, and it's called pink washing, when they're using breast cancer awareness to tout their cancer-causing products. And it's clear why they're doing this, because they're targeting women. They're trying to hijack our emotions that we want freedom and we crave independence. And they're bandwagoning with the feminism and the women's liberation movement. And ultimately, it's just a bunch of really smart people with ass loads of money and power. And they are benefiting from our complicity, from the fact that we believe drinking is an act of empowerment for women instead of what it truly is. It's a drug designed to keep us down. The industry aims to make alcohol use and consumption more socially acceptable among women because historically we've consumed less alcohol than men. And this strategy has proven very successful. And as a result, alcohol use by women, especially those of higher socioeconomic status, is catching up to alcohol use by men. Recent advertisements targeting women paint alcohol as a balm for the stress of raising children and dealing with modern life, encouraging women to spend their free time consuming alcohol on a night out with friends or after a busy day of work or parenting, promising fun and even a boost in confidence. Where the use of alcohol among women is low, the industry is now marketing alcohol brands to women using sweet flavors such as cherry, or healthier options such as gluten-free and vegan in order to make the alcohol more palatable. The wine mom culture is in full swing and the wine memes are everywhere. The wine mom became commonplace in about the 2010s, and moms started joking online and on social media about drinking wine to cope with the stresses of motherhood. We've all heard them, you know, the most expensive part of having kids is all the wine you have to drink. Or wine is to mom what duct tape is to dads. It fixes everything. Or motherhood has taught me a lot, like when to switch from coffee to wine during the day, at Relaxing Mommy. These memes normalized drinking for moms with kids and those of us that are moving even beyond kids. And it's no longer just print and commercials that are getting to us. They found us where we spend most of our time, on social media. Big alcohol is spending a shit ton of money to infiltrate our feeds and our stories and our shares. And it's proving to be highly effective. Where as a culture, we all knew that drinking was supposed to be social and people who are drinking alone have a problem, they came into our social media and changed the rules, normalizing drinking alone, drinking at home with really helpful recipes and fun ideas. What better way to practice social responsibility than by encouraging consumers to stay home during the lockdown and host virtual happy hours and virtual cocktail parties? Smirnoff even created women-centric playlists in support of a good cause. And Captain Morgan made us all feel a little bit better about all the Zoom meetings we had to go to.
No, I'm not saying anything.
Definitely made him tiger food, right? I mean, you guys are.
Oh my god!
Hey, what's up, guys?
Oh my god! They're burning!
Orange, why are you naked?
Oh, God. Is my camera on?
Oh, yeah.
I'll never unsee this.
Okay, hold on. How's that?
No,
You are definitely
you
still
zoomed
naked.
in somehow.
Hold on, it's growing on me a little bit.
It's not growing on me.
No, Lemon, don't. Don't encourage the guy.
Florida's finest, baby.
Can you see my name?
Of course, all of these brands tell us to drink responsibly, but ultimately, they're promoting alcohol. They're promoting their own sales, not public health. The Drink Responsibly campaigns are basically just public relations tools that allows them to shirk the responsibility for selling addictive and harmful products. Ultimately, they're glorifying drinking, and they're playing a misleading and deceptive joke on the general public. The alcohol industry focuses on individual responsibility to avoid regulation around alcohol use and drinking and driving. It keeps them from having to take responsibility for selling an addictive, carcinogenic, neurotoxic, psychoactive substance. Relying on young drinkers and those with a dependence to be responsible for their actions is not a strategy. Instead of please drink responsibly, how about please market responsibly? There's no truth in these advertisements. These alcohol ads are manipulating our emotions and keeping us brainwashed into believing that if we just buy the right brand of alcohol and have the right cocktail recipes, that we will also be free and independent and sexy. And somehow George Clooney will end up in our bed. It's a nasty bait and switch. Please think responsibly.